Now, throughout the entire story of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, we've seen enemies of increasing scale. From the initial power of the Saiyans, the first meeting of Vegeta and his elite Saiyan power, to the then Super Saiyan level of strength of Final Form Frieza himself. And even when foes were created by time disruptions, like the more powerful versions of Android 17, 18 and thus Perfect Cell, all of these calamities went unnoticed by the wider universe and more or less remained solely an Earth issue. However, by the time the legendary villain Majin Buu arrived, a villain who had a history so deep and violent that it even involved the murder and absorption of former Supreme Kais, we saw more of a reaction from other corners of the universe and even other dimensions, as King Yemma himself was forced to bring back warriors such as Vegeta just for the sole purpose of stopping him. But despite the crucial Supreme Kai coming into close calls and near-death experiences with Buu, the one character who was suddenly introduced to us in Dragon Ball Super was never to make an appearance. Now of course, by the time Dragon Ball Super did hit our screens, Beerus was explained to have been sleeping. A trait which of course seems to be unique only to him, and also gives signs to the fact that he may have been in this position for an extended period of time, so long that even a new successor in God of Destruction is required. Something we've seen hinted at by Whis in the main series when asking Vegeta to become the next God of Destruction, and also in the Broly movie when asking Goku if he was training to become one. But it begs the question that in this large time period that Beerus has served as a God of Destruction, who exactly did he replace and what happened to him or her? Did they leave peacefully or not? Or would they have been just as angry as Beerus is perceived to be whenever the idea of his replacement is brought up by Whis? This is where this story begins, where the old god of Universe 7 is finally shown, and he finally arrives to meet Beerus. The scene starts in the far reaches of another realm, where we see time crystals not unlike the ones we saw with Cirrus. Within the crystals, we see flashes of battles both past and present involving the Saiyans. In one scene, we see the ancient battle between Super Saiyan Yamoshi and Kumba. In another, we see a Super Saiyan Blue Cauliflower attack Jiren. And finally, a new fusion between Saiyans that causes the crystal to finally crack. The words, "the balance must not be broken," are seen on screen, before the crystal suddenly explodes and leaves a strange human-like figure with his back turned to us. His aura a distinct purple we know to come from Gods of Destructions, as he begins to say, "10 million years and nothing has changed. I cannot tolerate this anymore," giving us a small hint as to just how long Beerus had had this position. The new figure then opens his hand to reveal a holographic image of Beerus, presumably created with his own ki, which he without warning then crushes in his hand, showing us a sign of his intense hatred for his successor. The words "an ancient god is back" appears on the screen, before we begin to see a closer visual look of the old god, his eyes black with his pupils purple, almost as if the Hakai energy has infused directly into his being, before we finally see the most shocking feature of all, the Majin Belt. With the Majin meaning demon people, and thus confirming himself as the first demon god of destruction, and perhaps an explanation as to why he was sealed away. We then see his whole face draped in darkness in a familiar location, as the next scene then reveals he stands before an angry Grand Priest, who questions him, "What are you doing here, Nobu?" And as the two square off in the middle of the plain as if almost equals, Nobu reveals his plan to kill Beerus and recover my place of God of Destruction of Universe 7, leading to a silence as he stares down at the Grand Priest with complete seriousness. Presumably, the Grand Priest then lets him do as he pleases, or is even perhaps beaten by this figure. The scene then shifts to the realm of Beerus and Whis, who are looking on, having obviously sensed the disturbance caused by the reappearance of Nobu, with Beerus in particular looking completely triggered by the situation. Meanwhile on Earth, Nobu has already arrived and met with the Z-Fighters, who have battled and refused to let Nobu know of Beerus' location. In the first scene, we see a battered and bruised Android 17, Piccolo, and 18 who stand staring at something. Next we see a similarly beaten down Mystic Gohan and what appears to be an adult Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, before finally seeing the beaten down Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, who both power down, realizing how low their ki had become and also how futile their attempts are. And they'd be right to think that when the scene shifts to Nobu, who is holding a badly beaten and reverted to base form Broly by the neck as he recounts in mockery. So that's the level of Universe 7. Interesting, but not sufficient, treating the power of even the legendary Super Saiyan as nothing more than an appetizer. And indeed, the main course is arriving. A voice from behind then speaks up. If you're searching for a real challenger, I'm here, Nobu. Beerus has arrived, and his Hakai energy purple ki surrounds him, while he smirks in anticipation of beginning his battle with his predecessor. Nobu in response stares back with a demonic look and proclaims, "You finally show up." With Broly still in his arm, Beerus arrives in front of Nobu on the battlefield, with Nobu staring him down with a smirk of his own. He immediately lets go of Broly as if letting go of a plaything, and Broly lands on the ground in complete agony. The real battle is finally to begin as the screen cuts to a battle between gods of destruction, before we finally see the true form and power of Nobu. His arms break free from his body and a huge explosion of energy is shown leaving behind the true god of destruction form of Nobu. Reminiscent of Toppo, his skin is darker, his eyes even more callous with red tribal markings drooping down, and the steam holes now where his eyebrows are just like those of the margin. Nobu is ready and is at full power for Beerus. Can the current god of destruction of Universe 7 even stand a chance against such ultimate power? The screen then brings up the title of the fan movie, Dragon Ball Super, Beerus. Now, if you made it this far in the video, please do subscribe, but I also want you to drop a hashtag continue in the comments if you want a part 2, as this fan animation I've shown you is actually from a fan-made trailer by Thibault Deboom. That's just 3 minutes long, and unfortunately, it seems due to the hard work required to produce this kind of amazing high-quality animation, he doesn't really plan on continuing it. But I think after watching this video, we can both agree that this story has legs and is actually interesting. I find the character of Nobu to have a really unique and impressive design that definitely wouldn't be out of place in the Dragon Ball universe, and the little details such as being affiliated with the margin is also something that could be extremely interesting to explore. The animator here is actually a French fan manga artist with his own line of Dragon Ball stories, but unfortunately they do not follow this story. I will leave a link to the original video in the description so you can enjoy the trailer yourself, as there are some parts I miss out. But head over there and let him know you came from me, and also that you want his work to continue. I'm sure with enough support and exposure from YouTubers such as myself, he could actually go on to create something more for this, even if it was just a short extra animation of Beerus vs Nobu, which I'm sure all of us want to see. But I definitely want to hear from you guys what you think of the story so far. Can you see an arc like this in Dragon Ball Super Season 2, or is this all too far-fetched? For example, Broly being back on Earth and being child's play to this new god. Goku has said before that he thought Broly was as strong as Beerus, if not stronger. So could Beerus really do anything to this new figure? Keeping in mind that just like how Toppo and Nobu have true god of destruction forms, there may actually be a secret god of destruction form Beerus has that we just have no clue or idea about yet. Definitely let me know down below what you think, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, I suggest you click and watch one of these two videos which have over 150,000 views between them. You will not be disappointed. Until next video guys, cheers.